Nigeria's call obey. To see the Nigeria of our dreams emerge, there is an urgent need to return to the values that makes us a great nation. Drawing inspiration from the national anthem, this book titled Nigeria's Call Obey by Adeniyi Adekunle analyzes our anthem and enumerates the values contained in the anthem as values that make great. Our national anthem contains a common hope, a singular objective, and a compelling aspiration for our future. If we all individually and collectively respond to the message in the national anthem, we would have a very good chance at creating the new Nigeria we so desire.
Last time on Relationship and Life, we were talking about the practical application of the relationship triangle, and we began to look at how this applies in different biblical figures. And last time we looked at the life of Moses, and we saw how Moses integrated the principles of the relationship triangle into his life. Today we'll be looking at the life of a woman called Abigail, very interesting woman in the Bible. And our story is found in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25 from verse 2 to 35. Long portion of the scripture, and I will not take time to read it. 1 Samuel chapter 25 from verse 2 to 35. Now the story is this. Abigail was married to a very rich man called Nabal. Very rich man called Nabal. And Nabal had sheep and cattle and all that. And during the harvest time, he was harvesting his flock and he was killing his sheep and all that. So David, who had been protecting his shepherds in the field, sent some of his men to go and meet Nabal, to greet him and said, "Listen, please, we've been protecting your sheep, we've been protecting your flock in the fields. Can you please send us some food for myself and my men?" When David sent his men to Nabal, Nabal said, Who is David? Who is he? A man that left his boss? I will now give my food, my hard-earned food, to give to David. He said, to hell with him. There's nothing for David, and I don't care who he is. And he sent David's men away. When David's men got back to David and they told David what happened, David was very angry. He felt that, listen, I have given my time, I've given my energy, I've released my men to protect your soldiers, and the way you can repay me back is for if what I've done. He called his guys and said, listen, let's go to the house of Nabal and we are going to kill everybody. Everything that lives is going to die today. As David was riding with his soldiers, about 200 of them or so, Nabal's wife, called Abigail, fantastic woman. She got home and one of the servants told her what had happened. Immediately, Abigail got to know what was happened. She got the food together, got food, got everything, and packed it and ran to meet David. Now, Abigail, by all means, was a very unique woman, extraordinary woman. The Bible made some things about her life in the Bible helps us understand the kind of woman she is. When her servant told her what happened, she immediately met David and she bowed down to David and began to plead. She began to beg him and began to say, listen, please don't do this thing. Abigail understood God, understood what God was doing, understood people, and understood the place of things. Now, Abigail is a classic example of someone who understood how to use the relationship triangle. Now, the moment she met David, the first thing she did was that she bowed down before him and said, David, please forgive me. Forgive my family. Don't do this thing. Listen, you are going to be king tomorrow. It's important that you don't mess up today, what you are doing tomorrow. You don't mess up your kingship tomorrow by what's going to happen today. And she began to speak to the king and David. Now, for her to know that God had made David king, it means she was sensitive to God. It means she had respect for God's word. Can you imagine? Her husband did not care. The husband did not care that David was a king or David was going to be a king and all that. But Abigail was godly enough to understand what God was doing. That, listen, even though Samuel was the one on the throne, David was the one God had chosen. And she said, listen, King, David, you might not be on the throne now, but I know what God is saying about your life. And I respect that. Don't do this. And she spoke to David, and David cooled down. The second thing we think about the life of Abigail is this, that Abigail must have had a fantastic relationship with people. Abigail must have known how to relate with people. Now, let's look at this. 1 Samuel chapter 25. I'll read verse 14. 1 Samuel chapter 25 from verse 14. Now, one of the men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, look, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, and he reviled them. But the men were very good to us. They did not do us any hurt, nor did we miss anything as long as we accompanied them when we were in the fields. Abigail was not around. Abigail was not at home. Her husband who sent them away, no steward, no servant could talk to him. But Abigail was that kind of woman that a staff member, a junior member could walk up to and talk to. So the man came to Abigail and said, listen, madam, our boss has been very bad to David, and David's men were good to us. Please, let's do something about it. Now, the question is this. How come the same staff that saw Nabal do the same thing could not talk to Nabal? It showed that Nabal must have been a very terrible human being. Nabal must have been a very wicked man, because you did something that was going to cause you trouble, and your servants, your stewards, your staff could not talk to you about it. But we see that his wife, Abigail, must have been a warm woman. Now, put the life of Nabal with Naaman. Their names sound alike, but they are different. Nabal, Naaman. Now, Naaman, 2 Kings chapter 5. The Bible talks about Naaman being a great general. He had brought victory to his country and to his lord, the Syrian. Now, Naaman had leprosy. And a little girl in his house was the one who spoke to him about it and changed things. Now, we'll continue the story about Naaman. Please don't go away. We'll be back after the break.
Experience God's life, light and love as you join our church family this Sunday at the Helper's House. Venue, Courty Event Center, 171 Bagada Oworonshoki Expressway, beside EcoBank, opposite UPS, First Federal Bus Stop, Bagada, Lagos. Time, 9:30 a.m.
The decision on whom to marry is perhaps one of the most important decisions that you can make in life. Unlike any other decision you make in life, the decision on whom to marry has a far-reaching direct impact on your life. Sadly and unfortunately, most people fail to prepare adequately for this all too important life decision. In this book, Before You Say I Do, by Adeniyi Adekunle, you will find points to consider before proceeding to the marriage altar and down-to-earth practical questions to ask yourself before saying, I do.
Welcome back. We're talking about the story of Naaman. Now, when Naaman had an issue, his servant was able to talk to his mistress and say, please, can you tell my boss if he goes to Israel and meets the prophet of God, he will do something about his situation. Now, a message came from a low servant, and the great general Naaman listened and did it. So Naaman took himself and went to Israel, met the prophet, and the prophet said, listen, go and bath 7 times in the Jordan and you'll be okay. Naaman got angry and he wasn't going to do it. As he was going back home, another servant spoke to Naaman and said, my lord, listen, if this man had asked for something tougher, won't you have done it? He said, but all he's asking you to do is just go to bath in the river Jordan. It won't take anything out of you. Now, Naaman again, second time, was listening to a low servant. And that's how he came out of leprosy. But Nabal, on the other hand, could not listen. His servant could not talk to him. It's like, you know, I heard a story once. There was a bus traveling with his driver, and they were coming from the north down to the south. And he didn't say one word. He didn't say one word to his servant. Maybe he felt it was too high for his driver. So the driver was in front, and the bus was at the back. Not one word, all the way from the north down south. So somewhere in the middle belt, he stopped to buy something, and he opened the door, got out of the car, then tried to get back into the car. I remember maybe he had not forgotten his thing or something. So he opened the door and closed it back, and the driver drove off. Now the driver assumed that the bus was at the back of the car because he heard the door open and shut. He got down south and he looked at the back of the car and the boss wasn't there. And that was a real bad one. Why? The boss never said one word to the driver from the north to the middle belt, and he just assumed, since he didn't talk to me all that way, he didn't hear his word all to Lagos, and he felt that he wasn't there. Now, it's important you understand that people are important to us. No matter how low they are, you might be so big, understand that people can help you. So, Nabal could not be spoken to, but his wife, Abigail, listened to the words of a common servant, and she went and spoke to David. Are you that kind of person, that people who are not as big as you are, people that don't have your privilege, that don't have your pedigree, that don't have the kind of certificates you have, that don't have the social stand you have, can they talk to you? That was the kind of person Abigail was. And the last about the life of Abigail is this. Look at what David asked for. All David asked for was food. Food. In the relationship triangle, food will come under material things. So David was asking Nabal for material things. Nabal was already a rich man. He could have given it, but Nabal said, no, to hell with you. But Abigail got the food, got everything he needed, and took it to David. Not only did she take it, she bowed before David and gave him those things. I want to read an interesting thing in the Bible. Now, let's go to the book of Luke. This is what Jesus said. Luke chapter 16 and verse 9. Luke chapter 16 and verse 9. I tell you, Jesus speaking, I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourself, so that when it is gone, you'll be welcomed into eternal dwellings. I'll read it again. I'm reading Luke chapter 16 and verse 9. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourself, so that when it is gone, you'll be welcomed into eternal dwelling. I'm going to read in another version. It says, here's the lesson. Use your worldly resources. That's New Living Translation. It said, here's the lesson. Use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends. Then when your earthly possessions are gone, they will welcome you into an eternal home. The purpose of things, not just to consume on yourself, is used as access and to use to benefit others. And that's what Abigail understood. She took the things she had, rushed to David and gave them to him. And David, who wanted to kill this woman, kill her family and kill everybody, immediately cooled down. Our understanding of the relationship triangle averted trouble, averted danger for her life. Now, the interesting thing is this. Abigail's husband died, and David went immediately after that woman. He said, a woman that can behave like this, I must have her as a wife. If you understand the relationship triangle, you'll be shocked at the kind of doors it will open for you. Abigail was not stranded. She could never be stranded because she understood that. When you understand and practice the relationship triangle, you will never be stranded. And that's my prayer for you. We'll end here today, and I pray the peace and the wisdom of God will be with you. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.
I'm back, bigger and better. In a world full of pressures on all sides, many people experience some form of setback at some point or the other in life. While some setbacks can easily be overcome, many others can knock the best of men out of the game of life and bring them to a place where they never have the courage to get back up and fulfill their dreams and aspirations. In this book, I'm Bigger and Better by Adeniyi Adekunle, learn scriptural strategies that will help you turn setbacks into comebacks, help you rise every time you fall, and help you fulfill your dreams and aspirations.